If I have an observation that I've made over the course of making these documentaries for nearly 30 years, people make their mistakes or even do predatory and awful things for reasons that are somewhat relatable. You know that phrase, the banality of evil, the fact that evil arises out of almost a lack of introspection. Hi, I'm Louis Theroux and I'm here to answer the questions from the Honesty Box. Why are you drawn to the taboo? Well observed. I am drawn to the taboo. The taboo meaning the forbidden, the mysterious, the proscribed, the things that we're not supposed to do. I think it's because I am rather a hemmed-in, worry-prone person. And so if I see people acting out in ways that are extreme, I'm like, what are you on? Like, how does that work? Why are you allowed to do that? Why am I all hemmed in and normal and you're out there with a cult or with a ton of guns or committing crimes and not living your best life, obviously, but just kind of marching to your own drumbeat. And that's become the basis of a career, but it comes quite naturally to me, that sense of curiosity. Who's the worst person you've met? The worst person I've met. I mean, it's somewhat subjective. I've been in prisons. I was in a maximum security mental hospital for paedophiles, making a documentary. My mind tends to go to Jimmy Savile, basically because actually when I met him, I was making a documentary, but his crimes had not been discovered. So it was that strange dissonance of later on finding out that he'd done these dreadful things. He'd been a serial sex offender, and not knowing at the time. But he's he's well advertised as probably the worst kind of, if you like, VIP predator or person in the public eye who was a predator. Certainly of recent times. Wow, that's an upbeat question. Thank you. If you had to stay at one of the weird weekends forever, which one would you choose? If we want to keep it to weird weekends, I spent 3 weeks at a brothel for a program, and it was surprisingly fun. I don't mean in a weird way, like it's just that you're behind the scenes and seeing this slice of life, people coming and going. But you said weird weekends, and that wasn't a weird weekend. So of the weird weekends episodes, I think I'd probably... The first one I ever made was about people who think civilization's about to collapse and who think that the United Nations is going to take all their guns away. It was in northern Idaho in a community called Almost Heaven. And because it was the first, I have a sentimental attachment to it. So maybe that one, or maybe the Swingers one. Is your on-screen persona the real you? Pretty much. I mean, I'm doing a job. Don't we all have personas in life? You know what I mean? Like, you're a different person at work than you are at home. I think you're probably a bit nicer at work, aren't you? You go around saying, yes, okay, let's do that, fun. And then you go home, you're a bit grumpy and tired. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I'm big time dodging the question. But you know, so when I'm there on location or even in a podcast studio interviewing someone, yeah, I'm on best behavior. But I'm also in work mode where I'm like trying to be amusing, beguiling, seductive, broadly speaking, like, okay, I'm going to be so charming that you'll spill all your secrets. You'll enjoy being with me, and you'll enjoy. You'll have a good time and talk about whatever I want to talk about. But I don't think it's like, oh, he's complete. It's not like David Bowie doing Ziggy Stardust. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, okay, I just need 5 minutes because I'm getting into the role of Louis Theroux right now. It's not like Ali G. I'm basically just me, but a bit more ebullient and obliging and polite and well-informed. Why are you so awkward? Why are you so awkward? Have you ever thought someone was genuinely evil? I try not to use the word evil. Certain words have so much judgment attached to them that I don't know how helpful they are as analytical tools. If I have an observation that I've made over the course of making these documentaries for nearly 30 years, it's that people make their mistakes or even do predatory and awful things for reasons that are somewhat relatable. I mean, it may not be that we have the same impulses. I mean, we are all under the skin motivated by similar things, like feeling of belonging, meaning, certain sexual urges, certain feelings of community and connection. It's just that can get distorted or express itself in toxic ways. Often evil effects result from people behaving simply selfishly or unthinkingly. You know that phrase, the banality of evil, the fact that evil arises out of almost a lack of introspection, a kind of shallowness, a refusal to look inside. You know, that some of the behavior you see that seems on the surface most psychopathic is just people not even thinking, not even interrogating their choices and refusing to look and think through what the consequences of their action are. I mean, it means that evil takes place, but it's that people are selfish, weak, cowardly, that they lack sensitivity and empathy. And that's all it is. Do you consider yourself a national treasure? I do, implying that they consider themselves a national treasure. Who wrote this? David Attenborough? Judi Dench? I am a national treasure. Am I? I don't think that's cool, man. No, I'm not a national treasure. I'm just a very humble documentary-making legend. A highly esteemed 3-time BAFTA-winning normal person like you. I do the work because I enjoy doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like I actually love like going out making films. My happy place is being inside San Quentin prison. I know that sounds glib and fucked up, but being like in a weird cult. I know it sounds strange, but you know, when you're filming and you're like, oh my God, this thing is extraordinary that we are able to bear witness to. And so that's why I do it. And if that makes me a national treasure, then I guess I'm a national treasure. Favorite member of the most hated family in America? The member who I stayed in touch with was Megan Phelps Roper, who I made 3 films with the Westboro Baptist Church. The first one was called the Most Hated Family in America. And Megan, who's the daughter of Shirley, who was kind of the day-to-day manager of the pickets. These pickets were highly hateful pickets where they would have homophobic placards and turn up at funerals or high-profile events with horrific messages on, right? That was their whole ministry. Why did they do that? I haven't got time. They just did it. The Bible told them, remember? The Bible made them do it. And so I spent 2 weeks living with them, well, visiting them every day, 3 weeks maybe. And Megan was fully signed up. And then the second time I went back and she was still in. And then the third time, I think she'd left. And she's become a kind of advocate for tolerant values and the way in which she's de-radicalized herself. The way she's embraced a really positive, humanistic, intelligent outlook. And she is an exemplary human being, I think. So she would be someone, she's where my mind went. And a nice person. What work are you proudest of? P.S. We need more. Well, thank you for that. Right now, I know, don't get annoyed. I'm very proud of my new film, Louis Theroux Inside the Manosphere. It feels very of the moment. If you follow the culture, the way the world is now, certainly culture is now infused with these influences. The Manosphere, for those who don't know, is the world of male influencers, some of whom are kind of mainstream and somewhat benign, like comedians and podcast hosts who make risque jokes about men versus women. And then they're at the deep end, it's these guys who put out fully poisonous or kind of bigoted content of why women are rubbish, you know, shouldn't be allowed to vote and shouldn't be allowed to drive, and why men should be having sex with hundreds of women and women actually should be virgins, like these almost like medieval views. They've taken the internet by storm, and Andrew Tate's the most famous, but there are loads of others who enjoy massive virality. For me as an older man to be in there, the strangeness of that, the way in which it's got a kind of story, but a meta story in which they're filming me, and then their filming of me becomes part of our story. And then just sort of the sense of, I guess, the risk taking of me being somewhat exposed emotionally, and to sort of get out of my depth. I think, to me, that's what gets me excited about making programs, is where I'm taking risks, if that makes sense. And yes, I will try and make some more, if they will let me. Do you feel responsible for the people you film with? Yes and no. I'm a human. I'm a human and a national treasure. A humble human with 3 BAFTAs. Of course I have feelings, and I don't want people to feel like their life has been turned upside down. But, I'm not responsible for their choices. And I'm not responsible for how everyone who sees the film, you know what I mean? Like, if some crazy person sees a film I made about the Westboro Baptist Church and then decides to join the Westboro Baptist Church, as in fact has happened a couple of times, I think, that is not on me. That's not my, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there. There's crazy people out there. If it's watched by tens of millions of people, then some people are gonna, some people read the Bible and then go and commit an atrocity. Yes, I'm comparing my film with the Bible. They're very similar. What topic would you not touch? I'd like to think there's no topic that's off limits. It's all a question of approach. I wouldn't want to film with someone when they are actively doing something horrific. Documentary making there's this sort of process of, it's not complicity as such, it's just the sense that you're there. So when things take place that are horrific, past a certain benchmark, you just can't be there. You have to step away. Like, we're going to go do a murder. Okay, well, let us know when it's going to happen and we'll keep filming. It doesn't work like that. Just the presence of me and our camera implies some sort of sense of, not involvement, but sort of some sense of kind of complicity that's not something we want to be involved in. As far as actual subjects, the one that I kind of wanted to do but didn't do mainly out of fear was going out to ISIS. You remember the so-called Islamic State? When they were executing people in orange jumpsuits and rounding people up and throwing them off tall buildings, incinerating them, crucifying them. It felt like this weird reanimation of a kind of medieval mindset, like the most extreme, almost pornographic violence being enacted. For me, as a student of the human condition and kind of forms of organized madness, it felt like the best example, the most horrific, but also the most flagrant example of rampant, almost contagious irrationality. I mean, irrational isn't even the right term. It's just extreme behavior that everyone's somehow participating in together. But I genuinely wouldn't have felt safe going out there, either for me or for my team. So we never went. Did Carole Baskin feed her husband to the lions? I don't think she did. I made a film with Joe Exotic. It was called America's Most Dangerous Pets in 2011. I spent 10 or 11 days with Joe Exotic and his 2 husbands or other halves, other thirds. We were going to do a little series about him and then it became a single episode. Fast forward 10 years, Tiger King came out on Netflix. I went and made a follow-up in which I kind of went back to my rushes to see if there was anything I'd missed. The main takeaway was, honestly, I felt bad for Carole Baskin. The way in which she was trolled as a result of that film and allegations about her. I genuinely think that her husband, was it Don, died in a plane crash probably. But because of, Carole would probably be the first to say she has a slightly awkward self-presentation. So people were charmed by Joe, as everyone was, as I was when I was with him, and found Carole a little off-beam. And then it was, therefore, she killed her husband, which I don't think stands up forensically. How long did it take for the Jiggle Jiggle song to get annoying? Wait, it's annoying? I feel like it's become such a kind of weird, unexpected side mission in my life that it isn't annoying for me. It might be annoying for you, and I'd like it to be more annoying because long may it continue. The Jiggle Jiggle era will never end. In a way, it's the furthest thing from annoying. The annoying thing is that I can't think of a follow-up.
Do you remember the lyrics?
Do I remember the lyrics? Yes, I remember the lyrics. Is there a follow-up question?
I mean, some people in the room might not know the lyrics.
If you don't know the lyrics, allow me to annoy you. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat. You really have to see it. That's all you get. Wow, applause for that. Jesus Christ. How fucked, that's what it says on the card, is America? I'm half American. My dad is American. A lot of my family's American. I have a deep attachment to America. I feel reluctant to judge people to whom I feel, this attachment. Nevertheless, America is a bit fucked. We're all a bit fucked, aren't we? Because of, is it social media or is it just technology in general? The disintegration of certain bonds of loyalty, traditions, ways we relied upon to trust one another. America's maybe a bit more fucked. America's just a bit more everything, isn't it? Let's hope we get out of it. There's some more, I have many friends, as I said, family members fighting the good fight. So hopefully we can unfuck. Unfuck America. Unfuck America.
What about here in the UK?
Here in the UK, we're grappling with similar things, right? And it's this disintegration that's followed from our kind of the ascendancy of phones, isn't it? And social media. Like they say, democracy is government of the people, gerontocracy is government of old people, ochlocracy is the government of the mob. But what's it called? Government of the phone, like a phoneocracy? This sort of technological algorithmic overload that we inhabit and that we resist, but in spite of ourselves, we're seduced by. I think if you're like me, like you've had the experience of looking on a social media app and thinking like, oh, I need to DM that person, and then 20 minutes goes by and you've just been looking at AIs of people's heads exploding or guys jumping off tall buildings. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're merciless. They've hacked our software. You know what I mean? They've hacked our human software and they're leading us around by the noses. Who is the one person from history you'd most want to interview? Well, I'm getting an urge to say Jesus. Was that a little gasp that went out? Did I say something? Is that going to get me cancelled? He spoke Aramaic, which I happen to speak, so it's perfect. That's a joke. I don't speak Aramaic. I think realistically, Bowie, Presley. If people are alive, Bob Dylan. Did it say from history? We're all in history.
Why the musicians?
Why the musicians? Musicians are... I love music, and also they're poets, artists, they're charismatic. They tick various boxes. Like I love writers writing, but sometimes writers' best selves are presented on the page. I love actors and acting, but very often actors are speaking other people's lines. They don't. They may have a vision, but it's more subtle and more nebulous. Stand-up comedians is another one. There's a three-dimensional quality to their work that means that they can sort of bring it into the room with you. That means that there's something special that takes place sometimes when you're speaking to them. Do you think anyone can be radicalised under the right circumstances or the wrong circumstances? I think we are all in different ways susceptible to the influence of whatever it is. We are all radicalised already, by the way. Newsflash, mind blown. It was Nietzsche who said that madness in individuals is rare, but in periods of time, religions, nations and tribes, it is the norm. We are all swimming in the water of indoctrination, whether we like it or not. So de-radicalise yourself. And no, I don't even know what that means. How did it feel to be squirrelled by the Scientologists? Hey, nice use of the terminology. So squirreling the tech is in Scientology. Scientology speak for when you don't use the technology, i.e., the scripture of Scientology, in a correct fashion. It's like heresy, the Scientology version. But there's also a sense of, I mean, what they're really saying is, I was fair gamed. I didn't squirrel the tech. I know I'm getting deep now. What I did was platform someone who squirreled. Does that make sense? Because I interviewed Marty Rathbun, who was considered a squirrel. And I know it's a funny image. You're thinking of me interviewing a squirrel now, and that's weird. But having Scientologists chase you, tail you, surveil you, if you're making a film and you're documenting them doing that, is quite a good feeling. Because you're like, oh, I hope this would happen, and here it is. If I hadn't been making a film, it probably would be different. You know, sometimes you take on a subject, a bit like this Manosphere one, kind of knowing and hoping that they're going to clap back, as they say. Is that the right use of that term?
I think so.
They're gonna come back at you. They're gonna give you a hard time, attempt to harass, bully, intimidate you, make you uncomfortable, and then like that's part of what makes these programs or these films work, is seeing me squirm. And that happened in the Manosphere film. While filming them, they filmed me. The filming of me went viral. I was made at various times to look like a bit of a buffoon. But that's part of the pain and pleasure of doing these films. You know, going back to Weird Weekends when I did a thing about wrestling, and the best sequence was when the wrestlers started bullying me. I specialize in being bullied. That is my skill. It's my superpower. If you could time travel, would you go to the future or the past? I think I'd go... Oh, my God. I think I'd go to the past. The future would be confusing, would it? You might... what's there? I mean, it makes more sense to go to the future because it's more unknown, but truthfully, I think it might blow my mind too much. And there's something about the idea of going back in time and knowing more. You know what I mean? Like, so you arrive in the time of Shakespeare and you can say, like, oh, wow, look at my phone. I can play videos on it. And you'd blow their minds. You know, I know that's kind of basic, but I think there's something about... Although I do worry that actually I wouldn't care. They'd be like, I'm from the future. I can explain everything. We know so much. How much of that knowledge you could really impart? They'd be like, I don't believe you're from the future. And you're like, I definitely am. We've got TVs and phones and cars. And like, how do the cars work? And you're like, I think they're like... There's little explosions. It's called combustion engine or something. And they're like, you're not from the future. And then they'd burn you.
Is Shakespeare's Day the one? That's where you'd go?
To answer the question, Shakespeare's Day is where I would go. I think to meet Shakespeare, number one, he'd be a dream interview. Perhaps I'd bring my camera and my microphone and we'd do a little podcast interview. He's not going to be on Diary of a CEO, is he? You could say like, oh, I want to go to ancient Rome, but you'd have to speak Latin. I think probably Elizabethan English you could just about get by on. Do you know what I mean? You'd say things like, anon, sir, gadzooks, what cheer? And then go from there.
How do you feel about wearing a ruff?
Wearing a ruff, I would be okay with wearing a ruff and a doublet and hose. They wore tights, didn't they? I like a bit of ruff. You've met some fucked up people. Do you believe humans are inherently good or bad? We are inherently good and bad. I mean, we've evolved. Newsflash, you knew that, right? We are apes. People say, what's your favorite animal? Humans. I'm married to one. I have 3. I am one. We are, there's great apes. What are the great apes? Orangutan, gorilla, chimpanzee, and? Anyone? What? Bonobo. What did you say? No, and human. I was just fucking with you. And human. So are chimpanzees good or bad?
Neutral?
They're just chimpanzees. That's not rude. That's what they are. But they're pro-social. They're community forming. But they can be psychopaths. They can do horrific things. I think there's even chimpanzee serial killers. You know what I mean? I know. Wait, what? And that's my new Netflix true crime series. So, we're evolved to connect. I mentioned that. We've evolved to find meaning, we have a natural instinct to raise our children, right? Yeah. But sometimes that comes into conflict with other moral imperatives. So I guess we kind of skew slightly good. Like we kind of want to get along with people, but sometimes getting along with people creates its own issues. Like there's conformist forms of predatory behavior. People going along with authoritarianism. We're good and bad, slightly more good, but not much. Hey, what a nice thought.
Thank you,
Well done, everyone.
Woo. Serial killer chimps. I love it.
The fact that black holes exist, I think, that gravitationally completely collapsed objects that distort space and time so much that even light can't escape. I still think it's mind-blowing that according to Einstein's theory alone, time ends inside a black hole.